Now, we are saying that this problem began before this regime. So even if you are in the former regime, all the way from the first president, anything you took illegally, we want it back. Second president Moi, even if it's your family, that we want it back. Third president Moi Kibaki, wherever the problem is, we deal with the problem. Because someone was telling me we need to forgive. No, we can't forgive. We will forgive, yes, but return. Jesus says that when that man that was a thief in the Bible that told he climbed a tree, finally when they went to his house, the man says, I'm going to repay back. A thief says sorry by paying. Don't say many things here. Yeah, I'm sorry. There is no even need to arrest you. We want money. Freeze those bank accounts. Revoke those title deeds. Put money back here. But you're going to see, CG, a task force is created. You know the way they just lie to people. CG, what is created? Others people during their regime, people were found in Riviala. Now they are running for president. Because people's life just don't matter. It's not your mom that died. It's not your sister. It's not your husband. It's not your wife. We are not fools like you think. Most of you running for office are people's projects to keep their resources. We are not fools. That's why they present people, so that they can keeping their money. We need leaders that come into power and begin to retrace back from the first president. Give people, bring back to Kenya everything you stole. All these, what you call them, these roads, this expressway. How much should have been used? This, like Kenya, approximately 150 million per kilometer, in case you're not aware. Take, give or take. How can you end up using over 1 billion per kilometer? After 150 million, give or take 200 million, the rest of this money, if it's in those bank accounts, freeze them. Let us see those judges that work with them. Wanike, tell Kenyans, these are the people that are not allowing you to go forward. But the greed in this nation. And when you say something so little, people will take something, try to blow it out of proportion. Where do you get all this money? Every day, every week, you are giving money. 30 million, 20 million. Where are you getting the money from? Are you Tesla? Do you have a Tesla company? Billionaires in America don't even do that. What business is that you have that can give you 100 million in a week, 200 million in a week? Where are you getting the money?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for your greatest support. Now, fellow Kenyans, I don't want to talk too much, but I want you to listen to what Bishop John C.W. is saying. You know, I do say this, that if we could have people, if we could have most of the men of God, you know, pastors, bishops, apostles, prophets, who would just stand firm and say the truth, then we'll have a very big change in this country. These leaders, wenye mnaona wako na mchezo wanatufanyia moja mbili tatu, they can't get that room of doing those kind of things if people stand firm and not tolerate whatever they're doing, you know, the accusations, everything that they're doing negatively, more so to the people of the country. Remember, there are a lot of issues that are happening in the country right now, and Bishop John C.W. is talking about those who are being sponsored to become presidents. I want to tell you this. This is one thing that I've noticed, that I really noticed, that you see those who are in government, some of them are in government to protect their properties, to protect their legacy, maybe to protect their images. And then there are those who are not in government, but wants to be in the government, once again, to protect their images. So these are the kind of people that sometimes it becomes very difficult to deal with them. But after knowing that this is exactly their target, this is what they want to do, or this is what is happening, it's kinda easier to handle it. So I wanted to watch this video from the beginning up to the end, and then after watching the video, please make sure you subscribe and also tell me what you think, because your thought is also very much important in videos like this, and also in Bonita Media's community. Because I know that what you say, you know, your idea is also part of the discussion. So watch this.
It's foolishness for you to say on an nutshell what you need to do to become like other people without looking at the skeleton of what made them what they are. So now when the minister took the money and ate, the president heard about it and he was on his way. And you need to go and do the fact checking. By the time he's getting, when this person, the minister, is seeing him coming on the window, He took a drug and decided to kill himself. Reason was because corruption was going to be dealt with head on. And it was the first thing the Singaporean president decided to fight. It was not housing project. So if you do housing project, if you do real estate, if you do industries, if you do education, and then you fight corruption, the last thing, it means you can't fight corruption because you are giving corruption wings. Corruption is in housing project, corruption is in healthcare, corruption is in education, corruption is in industries. So what the president set out to do, his first agenda was to fight corruption. He created laws that were going to be very difficult, and I would like you to go and study the Constitution of Singapore. Very difficult. One of the things with the laws that were set out in Singapore is that you cannot borrow to pay. You can only borrow to invest. What do I mean? Look at Kenya, for example. Maybe, for example, the teachers have no money. You go and borrow to pay teachers. How do you expect to get the money back? There is a law in Singapore where you cannot borrow to pay off. You can only borrow to invest. And they have a cap. You cannot borrow beyond this, else the nation will become indebted to others. So I'm showing you the strategy that many people do not understand. So when you're busy saying Singapore, they fought corruption as their first agenda. They put resources in education. They did a well-trained military. Do you understand that? And then they went for the housing project. They created a fund whereby everyone, I think it was approximately 20%, where everyone was mandated to put resources, but equally speaking, any Singaporean dollar that they use, the president came out and showed the people transparency. So let me show you a fast forward, because unlike Kenya and Africa, Botswana has diamond reserves. Kenya has different reserves. Congo has cobalt reserves. South Africa has iridium reserves. So there are so many different reserves. Singapore does not have any meaningful. So they will need to do something else in order to make Singapore, Singapore. And I'm requesting you to listen. So the man knew that looking at the geographical location of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, that it was going to act as a catalyst between cross-border. So he went and started looking at the airport structure, he went and started looking at the road structure, and he went and started looking at the sea structure. 3 points of entry. So what did he do? They had raised approximately 800 million Singaporean dollars to build the airport in the main location. When the president came, he thought quickly and he decided to ignore those resources and raise approximately another over 1.5 billion and to go to the coast, like here we would call it Mombasa, to the coastal line and re-establish an airport. And I would like you to listen very well, because today I'm going to give you the easiest way to build an airport. I've seen so many people given an opportunity to raise this Kenyan airport. Sometimes I wonder, oh my God. May the Lord help us. So he leaves that airport in the capital, and he goes to the coastal region and establishes an airport with that particular money. What was his thought? He knew that he did not have an opportunity to mine any meaningful resource. So he would need to make the resource. Guess what the resource was? Human beings. And approximately less than 7 million Singaporeans. I want you to imagine the number. I don't even want to go to Qatar and show you how many Qatarians, original Qatarians, how many are they? Kenya has over 50 million people. Tanzania has 60 plus, I think. Nigeria, you cannot even imagine, over 200 million people. And we are still not looking at the most powerful resource. It's called human resource. When you have humans. So Singaporeans now go ahead and they build that airport. And what he begins to do, he begins to establish a network. So what does he do? He comes and he negotiates for this airport. Builds an airport. And in case many of you are not aware, I want to show you how to raise an airport. Our leaders, please listen. We know we are little people. Yeah, you don't need to tell us. We are pastors, we know. We should be, our work should just be on the pulpit, according to you. Our work should just be to beg you money and to tell you Jesus is coming. We don't have brains beyond to think about a nation. We know. But some of us have gone ahead to think and to study to show themselves approved. So what he did, he started desiring to raise an airport. So how do you raise an airport? This is what they did. And in case you're not aware, the Singaporean airport was voted the best airport in the world. So then the question should be, how did they build the greatest airport in the world? So this is what the person did. He knew he did not have resources. He knew he did not have much. So there are two things that he did to establish that nation. Number one, he built what you call special economic zones, where the tax was going to be little or nothing. What would that mean? It encourages foreign companies to establish locations to continue building. Special economic zone. Listen to how Singapore became Singapore. So he established those special economic zone. He set out the map of the nation and he realized if we do this here, if we do this here, if we do this here, all the parts of the nations are going to expand. Not just investing in the mountain, not just investing in Rift Valley, not just investing in Western. No, special economic zones that are going to touch over through the whole land and raise the whole culture of the land. So what did he do? He put the tax so favorable that companies like, I'm giving an example, not it. Let's take an example of Tesla. Tesla is an American company, for example. This is what it takes to produce produce the tax of that company in America. So what he did, he made sure that to produce the same product in their country, he made it so cheap that when the owners of this manufacturing plant compared, they preferred to go to the foreign land and set up base. Please listen. So he created special economic zones. So companies became interested because of those economic zones. Companies saw that it was cheaper to produce from Singapore rather than to produce from their own nation. I've explained the whole concept of special economic zone. Number two, he now went to the airport. And what he did is that he established a culture of what you call duty free. Many of you, if I ask you how does an airport make money, you know the answer you'll give me? You'll tell me tickets. Believe me, that is not it is not even close to how airports make money. So I went and I studied the economics of how that man, the president, built an airport. Today here, we are looking for Adani to build an airport for us. So what the man did, he built an airport and made sure there are as many shops as possible. And he made it so favorable for people to do business in the airport. You're going to understand it. So he positioned many duty-free shops, went and liaised with foreign companies so that any product that is bought from a duty-free shop in Singapore, if you enter with that product, maybe you buy a radio in Singapore duty-free, you enter in Kenya with that particular radio, Kenyan government cannot tax you because they already have an alliance with that government. Have you understood that? So people saw it as a point of acquiring things cheaper. So people would fly into Singapore just for the duty-free products. And I want you to listen. So you're going to ask, so how do they make money? So many people now saw that and they wanted to put shops in Singapore. So they started coming in to rent shops. And when you talk about renting of shops, it is one of the best ways for an airport to make money. So those of you that your airports are broken down, there is a very easy way. Make it cheap for any product that is sold. But today I've traveled on different airports in the world. One of the most expensive places to buy things is airports. Singapore managed it. So what does that mean? It means more people would want to go to that place to buy specific things. Now, in case, because you have a lot of money, the government is making money from those shops at the airport, what does the government do? It reduces what you call flight fee, landing fee. I hope you're listening to what is happening. Because the government is making money, it reduces the landing fee. When I say flight fee, I'm not talking about tickets. I'm talking about runway fee. There is a fee that any aeroplane that uses your runway, there is a fee it pays. Because the government is already making money, the fees goes down. Now, what does it mean for the fees to go down? If the fee goes down, guess what happens? Many more aeroplanes prefer to land there, refuel, recheck their engines. Why? Because it's cheaper for the landing fees. Now, do you understand that? After the landing fees was dealt with, they went now to what you call private parking. They made it so competitive, that it was cheaper for you to leave an aeroplane in Singapore for 1 year than to leave an aeroplane in London. Why? Because they are already making money from the shops inside. So many people would want to come in. So it started creating what you call transit. So Singapore, that did not have minerals, became a transit place. So planes are coming in to refuel. They prefer there, and many people are buying things from those shops. The shops are making money. The shops are paying the government. Are you understanding that? Now, many more aeroplanes are coming in because of the landing fees. They are coming in because of the fueling cost. Now, tickets became more cheaper. Have you understood how that structure works? So he went ahead and he built an airport, not by raising taxes, but by simply making sure that it's affordable. So now, what did Singapore become? Singapore became a transit zone. So now more planes were landing there because it was cheaper to land in Singapore. You go do an analysis of what it takes to land in Kenya, what it takes to land in Rwanda, what it takes, and then you will wonder why Ethiopia is the biggest African institution where many planes land. It's not a gimmick, and it's not mere words. It's not ni noma si noma, ni fire si fire, I'm gonna build roads. No, this is not how it works. It takes intelligence for you to build. But unfortunately, because the African system of building is talking and not doing, so they went and built. The airport today is rated the best, or if not, the second best globally. So what did they go and do? They added another wing. They kept adding wings to a point whereby they made it so attractive. Hotels are inside there. They have actually waiting areas where there are theater rooms. They are waiting area. So someone prefers, I would rather wait for, and I've waited for a plane for approximately 4 or 5 hours. It's not a good thing to wait in the airport. Have you seen people in the Kenyan airport sleeping on the, you can't see that in Singapore, because they have these waiting areas that are so attractive that someone prefers to go and wait 5 hours because it's as equal as you sleeping at home. So they made it so cheap. The foods that are bought in Singapore are cheap in the airport. They have hotels in the airport, so it means people can go and relax. They have theaters in the airport. It became a tourist attraction. They actually created this waterfall in the airport. I think it's about 35 meters, if I'm not wrong. That people just go there to look at that waterfall. Little things. So they finished that. So Singapore now started becoming. Let me not even go to the water and what they did with their coastal lines. While here there is a lot of corruption. What did they do with their coastal lines? So this is what they did. And in case you are not aware, the shipping industry, its shipping industry is the world's second largest by volume. The volumes of the shipping industry, the only one that beats it in terms of volumes on their coastal shipping industry is Shanghai. It's the second. Now, number two, you need to understand something about it. And first world for transship, meaning where many ships come and exchange goods. It is the leading. Do you remember what I told you? It is cheaper for you to use the Singaporean depot to do a transship. So ships come here, ships come from here, and then they exchange. They prefer to use Singapore. Have you understood what they did with the port? Have you seen it? Now they went to the third one. And they made sure that they are so favorable for their neighbors. It became so cheap for their neighbors to use the Singaporean airspace, the Singaporean road network, and the Singaporean water network to take things to their own nations. Now, take like the case of Kenya. Uganda is landlocked. So, in case you see any nation, you make it so cheap Or rather, you make it so cost effective for people to use your coastal lines, nations that are landlocked, to take goods to their nations. That's what Singapore did to become Singapore. They opened special economic zones. They built road networks. They knew that they did not have any reserves in terms of any meaningful minerals. And they knew that their only way was to use the human resource. Now, it will interest you right now. The cost per capita is 65,000. And it will interest you how long it took for Singapore to be Singapore. I've just given you an overview of Singapore. Meanwhile, I have a lot of things to tell you about Singapore. But guess the bedrock of Singapore? Corruption-free zone. Of course, I'm not saying you have to deal with corruption zero. But you cannot make corruption so normal. And yet you say you want to be like Singapore. So the next time your president or your governor or your who tells you we want to make Kenya like Singapore, can you compare what I've said with what he said? Are they willing to deal with the infrastructure? Are they willing to deal with education? Are they willing to deal with corruption, which is the first thing that the Singaporean president dealt with? Let's move it fast forward. I hear a lot of people saying they would like to be like China. In 2001, China joined the WTO, which is what you call the World Trade Organization. 2001. 2001. It means before that, China's goods did not have a global platform for them to trade. So 2001. They did not have anything in China. The nation was so poor, but the leaders' intention to see that this nation, and I want you to see the word is 2001. Kenya is 1963 independence, 2001. What would make a person leave Kenya to go to Shanghai to buy shoes, to buy batteries, to come and sell here in Kenya? They understood the trading system. So what did China do? There are several things that China did before your leader comes and tells you want to make Kenya like China. Listen to how China became China. So in 2001, China joins the World Trade Organization, and for the first time they begin to ferry their goods export-wise globally. China begins to build networks within that. So guess what China did? The president came up with a subsidy that 25% of every electric vehicle that is produced, 23 to 25% of every electric vehicle that is produced is going to be funded by government. So they create subsidies for that particular thing. So what does it do? They encourage people. For example, if for me to start a company would take me $200,000, 25% of that has already been catered by the government. So the government encourages people to invest more and rather to come up with new ideas. So you have companies like BYD. Go study that company. It was not known the other day, even though they have been on ground. So what they do, Chinese now begin to call, again they create special economic zones, and they have several of them, Shanghai, different places, which I've studied, and how the economic zones work. And the corruption, how they dealt with corruption. I don't even have time to give you the whole overview of China because of time. So they begin to create this, and they come up with subsidies. So they begin to encourage people that anyone that is going to come up with anything, 25% or 23 or 24% of that thing, whatever you need, the resources you need, here are the subsidies. Number one. Number two, in the economic zones, they made it so cheap. So you wonder how Tesla can be an American company, but its base is in China. You wonder how iPhone can be an American company, but its assembly point is in China. It is cheaper to produce iPhone in China than it is to produce iPhone where? In America. Do you understand that? Because of the special economic zones. So you attract companies to come to your nation because it's easier for that company to produce from your nation. You don't overtax it. So when I had the president of Tanzania not long ago, then before, when she was actually the president, if you know, you know, she says that many people, they saw the data that many investors are leaving Kenya and going to Tanzania. The question is why? And in case some of you don't know why the President Museveni is speaking the way he's speaking with a lot of strength, is because many of you don't know the amount of money that Kenya makes from Uganda. Many of us, we just talk online. We don't even have knowledge. The amount of money that Kenya is making in Uganda in terms of, because the goods that need to get Uganda, they pass through Kenya. So you protect that Ugandan channel with your life. You don't play with Uganda. But you see that when I see young people coming on social media, they're just abusing each other. Or you don't know, young people. We need to learn a lot of things. Uganda is a vital organ in terms of the amount of money we make because of our depot, our depot. They need our depot to take things. So when Tanzania offers a better deal, Uganda goes there. Kenya loses a lot. Why do you think you see the presidents in Uganda? In Uganda, all the time Kenyan presidents are going there. What do you think he's telling you? But because we are just reduced to Facebook and TikTok and abusing each other, sijui watu wa East, watu wa West. My young people, we have a long way to go. We just talk things and we don't reason. So China now begins to build those products. And guess what? In 2015, China's president comes up with a vision. And I want you to listen to this. China's president comes up with a vision. What's the vision? Made in China 2025. Go Google it. That's the vision. Made in China 2025. It means by the time we get to 2025, the biggest percentage of what the world needs must be produced in China. Whether electric cars, whether this, whether what. Now, the question is, I looked at it. I fast forwarded to 2025, and I can equally tell you that they managed. Every minute, the biggest electric car farm in China, every minute can produce approximately 2 vehicles. Every minute of an electric vehicle. Every minute they can produce it. Tesla cannot even keep up, because I saw the amount of, and it's quality cars. I saw the amount of cars that were sold. You can't imagine. Because they had a vision. What was the vision? Made in China 2025. A vision and the time period. If you have a goal and you don't set out a period to have achieved it, your goal will just be on the air. We have so many people saying, this year, which year? Every year you are saying, sijui my New Year's resolution. Go back to your New Year's resolution. How many resolutions have you been writing? You have to set out a goal. Made in China 2025. Now guess what China did? China went out to their desert areas, government lands, and they set up what you call solar energy. They did not have it. Fast forward it, 2015, 2025. Go count the years. 10 years. Made in China 2025. Fast forward 10 years later, 3 of the biggest solar farms, they're in China. 3 of the biggest wind energy producing farms, they're in China. 1 of them can feed Turkey. The solar that is produced in China can feed Turkey. Now you saw that the president was speaking about the megawatts that Kenya is producing. We have not even got it up to 3. It means there are companies that cannot even set base in Kenya because we don't even have the energy needed. So Kenya is not a special economic zone. Because when you set up special economic zone, you have to have created social amenities. I mean, the kind of things that are needed. Electricity is a vital organ to investment of companies in a foreign nation. So in 2025, China now started producing. Now this is what will shock you. The world eats approximately 5 million tons of fish per annum. 60+% or over 50% of that, remember, made in China, is being fed by China. China is producing approximately 60% of the fish eaten globally. Remember, 10 years ago, there was nothing. 10 years later, because a man has a vision and he has a time frame, made in China. So 60% of the fish eaten globally, they are made in China. While we are busy arguing here, Uganda and Kenya, about the ocean, and as if we can do anything about the ocean. Made in China. 60% of the fish market is made in China. How did they pass Kisumu? Now, I went deeper and I checked Kisumu. I was expecting the biggest fishing company to be in Kisumu. The biggest fishing company is here in Thika. How is that even possible? So what did we do to Kisumu? We took housing to Kisumu. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying it would not have been immediate. You go to an economic zone, you make it a special economic zone, and then you set up the companies needed. They don't even have cold rooms. Those that have a private and are hiring them expensive. Set up cold rooms. Set up major companies that can employ approximately 5,000 people. The tax that the government can make from that. Most of those people are staying in their homes. So the housing project there, the most immediate thing is not a housing project. Is it a wrong project? No. It is not time effective. So you would have done special economic zones in Kisumu and then have such companies. How did China pass us? And then now you are seeing Kenyans are complaining. Have you seen Kenyans complaining they are eating plastic fish? Why would you import fish? Made in China 2025. I'm wondering because the other day I was in Mombasa. They brought me a nice gift last week. And the gift was written Kenya. Very beautiful material. I loved it. I said, man, thank God for the Kenyan that made the Kenya, the shirt, the t-shirt, sorry. Only for me to turn back here, I'm wearing a beautiful t-shirt written Kenya, and then it's written Thailand. I don't even know. How can I wear Kenya and here is written made in Thailand? Remember the vision of China, made in China 2025. The biggest solar producing companies are in China now. Now what does that mean? China produces approximately 34% of what the world consumes. China alone, 34%. Did you know that? But we are just busy on TikTok. We are going to build roads. I've told you the verse. Can you put the verse for them? Mere words leads to poverty. Africa is a master at saying nothing. Look at our politicians. Have you ever seen the Chinese president on top of his car? Notice anytime you are seeing him on top of his car, very relaxed, and he's, inaitwa gwarida, kufanya ni kukagua gwarida, inspecting the military, and he's so calm. Look at our politicians. They talk more than they think. Just look at the politicians, how we behave. So China now has a new goal. You want to hear the goal of China? No import, only export. You know what that means to China? It means you become self-sustaining. You become a superpower. You can do anything. You can sink the whole world. 34%. Now guess what? 12% of what China is producing is only what they consume. They consume only 12%. What does that mean? If you read the law of demand and supply. So where does the law of demand and supply comes in? The more the demand and the less the supply, the higher the value of the product. Turn it around. The less the demand and the more the supply, the lower the value of the product. This is why almost every Chinese home they are driving. It's not because they are rich. It's because they are consuming less. So many companies are building products. Now you will notice why a Chinese will tell you, take it and come pay me later. Because they are producing more than they are consuming. Africa consumes more than it produces. I saw the other day the minister saying that I think how many hundreds, thousands tons they're importing of rice. How many lands do we have here? We cannot even produce our own rice. Why would you have Mumias destroyed? Why would you have import of rice? I don't understand. Do you know there are nations that are making, not rice, sugar, sorry. Why would you destroy Mumias? Do you know there are nations making sugar from sweet potato? You have sugar from sugar cane. And then you kill the Mumias sugar so that you can import. You go look at the import. Why would Kenya import sugar? Why? You only import when you are not able to sustain the market. Have we lacked land to sustain our market? Have we lacked land to sustain our import? Has Nigeria lacked land? There are things that should never be on the shelves. The question you should ask yourself, how much of Kenyan products are in the shelves of China? How much of Kenyan products are in the shelves of Uganda? How much of the Kenyan products are in the shelves of... How much of our products? China is thinking different. The China is saying how much of Chinese products are in the shelves of the world. But if we can't reason like this, a minister of works, you've seen in the beginning, he is asked a simple question. How much does it take to build 1 kilometer of road? He resorts to abuse, just like you here listening to me. Because you are so tribal, you can't understand anything we are saying. You are always looking for something wrong. You can't reason. And the Bible says the first way to build a relationship is calm. Let us reason. Forget who is your man. Forget who's your tribe. Kalenjin, Kikuyu, Kikamba, Kimeru, Kijaluo. We don't care who's your tribe. We want thinkers. And we do not care where they are coming from. So China now is producing solar energy. And now because of that, it's so cheap to have solar in. Do you realize why people cannot afford solar in Kenya? It's too expensive. It's too cheap in China. Because 12% is all they consume. And most of it goes outside to the market. Africa consumes more. In fact, what do we manufacture in Africa? Apart from poverty, what do we manufacture? Dangote came to Kenya during the former president's government. You know, sometimes I see some of you speaking about the former president, I just cry. Because sometimes Kenyans, our minds are like goldfish. The minute you are given 2,000, you behave as if like a goon. You can't reason. Is it not in his government where for the first time we were queuing for petrol? Is it not in his government where the prices of food went high? Was it not in Uhuru's government? Oh, you can't talk about him. Bishop, protect your people. Our people are people that are working. Take that nonsense somewhere else. And then when someone like that is standing, I'm seeing young people clapping. What is there to clap for? When an expressway that is supposed to cost less ends up costing billions per kilometer. Why would we be charging people? Now they are building another one. 8 shillings per kilometer. Why would we get there? What roads are being charged in Singapore? And then you are there saying, you want Kenya to be like Singapore. You want Kenya to be like what? No knowledge. Now China, 2025. China came up, remember the former President Biden? Biden came up and realized that China was using the chips. So Nvidia was making chips, one of the companies of the US. Nvidia was making those chips. The former President Biden, he made sure that a lower version of chips, so that they don't sell them the highest version of chips, because America was known for producing those quality chips. So they form a grade 2 chip and they continue to sell to, so that they don't use those chips against America. China does not use them. Fast forward, Trump comes in, and those second grade chips, Trump now even says there is no selling of chips to, and I'm not talking chips food. I'm not talking about food. You need to understand what is a chip. So now, fast forward, Trump comes in, and even those chips, he says, even the grade 2 chips, we are not selling to China. What does China do? Remember, made in China 2025. China turns to itself. I just came from seeing the Huawei phone. The Huawei phone, one of the people speaking, a very credible source speaking about the Huawei phone. I have managed to be on the aeroplane, 40 feet above sea level. So gee, what? Huawei has made a technology. They have a chip that is nowhere, not even the US can match it, at least for now. The chip that Huawei phone, one of the Huawei phone has, can reach to the satellite, and you can communicate down here 35,000 kilometers away. Now, those of you that have had that opportunity, you know that if your aeroplane just goes a little bit here, even before getting to the clouds, your phone goes off in terms of you don't have network. 35,000 feet up there, you can still have network. And you are talking about China, Kenya, and China are the superpowers. Which superpower? You know, we have people that are jokers. Now China, the same chips that America refused to offer China, China is making chips now for themselves. Remember, made in China 2025. When will it be made in Nigeria? Nigeria cannot even cater for its own oil reserves. The poverty in Nigeria is unimaginable. Kenya cannot cater. I saw the other day now they have discovered gold. What? I think 680 billion, if I'm not wrong, approximately $5 billion US. And then now I'm wondering the people there that are going to be compensated. Will you compensate them the value of the land up or the value of the land down? What is the best compensation? You move people, but you agree with the people. Whatever we farm here, 20% will go to the people that owned this land. 30% goes to the local government. That's 50. Then 50% goes back to the national government. Then the national government, by doing that, reduces the amount of money that is sent to the county government. Then you empower the people. But you're going to see a mining company, they will come and tell you, we don't have the tools. How cheap is it for you to get a tool in China? And set up, and then call the people from that community. It is the people from that county that will be given the first preference. Unless we don't have those expertise, then we go to the next county. Not the next country. It should be the next county. Then we build our people. But now, if you go and bring Chinese, when they make money, where are they taking the money? They are taking the money back to China. And this is the problem of Africa. We sell raw materials. We sell cobalt. Now we have discovered niobium. We sell cobalt cheap. I saw coffee in Saudi Arabia. Our coffee in Kenya. Something you're looking at 600, 500. Go and check it in those Middle East countries. Our coffee, because Ethiopia is competitive to us, Ethiopia's coffee cannot even come close. American coffee. I was looking at the value of those coffee. I don't know if anyone saw on tea. The same thing we are buying here for 500 approximately. They are selling it for 12,000. Why? Because we sell raw materials. What do? You invest, you make special economic zone, you make it cheap for companies to come here and set up, then you make sure that by the time the product leaves Kenya, value add, you put more value to the product. So you can imagine by the time it's going out, they're only looking for profit, not value addition to that product. It's already packaged, it's already smelling well, it already has the nutrients, it already has what? Now we are selling it for 10,000. Now you can imagine how many farmers will make money. You can imagine how many investors will make money. You can imagine how much the coffee plantations will come back. I was fed by coffee. They used to sell coffee to feed us. Almost in every home you'd have coffee. Now, who wants to farm coffee? Because of the cartels, middlemen make more than the farmers. Before the product leaves now, by the time the government pays, it's another hassle. Put value add in the nation. Let us do the right thing. China now becomes what it is now. 34% China is producing. What is in Kisumu? Why should we be importing fish? Kisumu should be exporting fish. And I'm not just talking about fish because there are other minerals. If I had time, by the time I finish, I will show you a graph of how Kenya looks like in terms of minerals. But what do our leaders like? Like this one. We are going to build. Have you ever seen the president saying in China what they are going? Look at those presidents. Calm, but nations are moving. Is it not a shame for a Nigerian pastor to call for an American president for help? Do you know how demeaning that is to the military of that nation? Because it's politics. Politicians don't want that war to end in Nigeria. So they sponsor. Where do those people get guns? You have already shielded the airport. You are in control of the airport, the airspace. You are in control of the sea. You are in control of the land. Where are those guns coming from? It is you people that are funding those people, Nigerians, so that Nigerians can die. Don't think we are foolish. Let us build. We are not here for games. We need leaders in Kenya, not men that stand on top of cars telling us, I will build this road. Build it. Come and open the road. That's what China is doing right now. Now, China has a plan not to import anything. Only export, no import. Export to who? Africa needs to change our minds. We should only import what we can't produce. The question is, what are we even producing?